Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Welcome back to another episode of Challenger Spectate. So today we are focusing in on Taliyah. The reason being is the champion has just received a nerf, and we haven't made a video on this champion since March 2019. I'm just looking now. But we've actually mentioned this champion a lot recently, especially in these Challenger Spectate episodes. Taliyah has become, basically, in essence, the Challenger jungler. And you might be like, I'm not seeing Taliyah, and that's the point. Normally in League of Legends, it works out that like whatever challenge is playing, everybody plays, and it kind of trickles down. Taliyah isn't really being played in anywhere other than really high rating, and she just received a nerf because of that. This game that I'm watching is after her nerf, so if memory serves correctly, she is slower with her passive, so when she hugs walls, she isn't as fast running around the map, and also her clear time is also slower too. That each rock that keeps hitting the same monster actually now is dealing less damage. So that obviously is definitely going to impact her clear. And you can see here, it's not a fast clear at all, is it? But yeah, I just thought we'd do an episode of it, because she's a very unique champion. And because obviously it is pretty much only really played in Challenger, don't really see much of Taliyah myself, but I like her. You know, people know I'm a massive fan of the Avatar, Legend of Aang, and Korra kind of worlds, and Taliyah's an earthbender, so, and that's what I would be. So I do think the champion is cool, but she's obviously very high risk, high reward in the fact that, like, you are a squishy mage. You can see here that Taliyah's jungle clearing, you know, very close to getting those wolves to reset. That could have gone really bad, but is clearing effectively, which is good to see. We'll also notice, you know, I've mentioned it in a couple commentaries now, above the names of each champion is the name of the champion. If you want the summoner name of who we're watching, they're to the sides of the videos. I just think, again, having the summoner name above the champion, it doesn't do anything. And so technically, I could either have that blank, but I think especially to newer people who potentially are watching the channel, they'd appreciate to be like, oh, which champion is which? It helps them learn a lot easier and better. Like, put it this way, I've played some Smite, Heroes of the Storm, hell, even Dota 2, and if they have that option, when I'm playing those games, I turn that option on. The only reason I didn't have it on League is because, one, we didn't actually have it for a long time, but secondly is obviously I know all the champions in League. But I think overall it's a pretty good thing. So this game, just a worth note, pretty standard. You know, there's a lot of the champions that we're seeing nearly every game. You know, there's Camille in top lane. Obviously, in higher rating in Challenger, Taliyah's in a lot of games. But Zed in mid lane is quite popular. There's the Jhin, obviously one of the popular AD carries. Meanwhile, a gank's going to happen. Bard portals behind. Nautilus decides to go for an engage. They are definitely in trouble. Is red team. They're going to flash away. Nice little bonk by the Taliyah. And that will get the Jhin first blood. And on the enemy team, popular champions was Seraphine. She has just received a quite heavy nerf, though. But she has just got a kill on Zed with the Skarner. Misfortune is one of the AD carries. Again, if you can't get Kai'Sa or Jhin, it's one of the other ones that you can kind of still play and be okay. Nautilus is doing fine, I'd say, in the meta right now. You know, he's not like top tier, but he's also not near the bottom anywhere near. He's like perfectly acceptable and perfectly fine to play. So ward being placed by Misfortune. Taliyah just kind of thinking about an engage, maybe looking to jungle clear, not really sure. High risk going into the enemy jungle without full vision. Like, Skarner's top lane, so at least you know you're not getting the jungler to come on you. But we don't know where Seraphine is. She's probably going to go back, but she might be on her way here. We didn't have vision of the enemy bot lane. We now do. And you'll notice they put a control wall down. Now, that might not seem like a big deal, but it is. Especially if I believe the Nautilus bought that. A 75 gold investment for a support in the early game. It's quite a lot of money. And that just being ruined instantly is pretty a big deal. So you can see a big play is actually happening. Oh, poor naughty Nautilus. With the little bonk, Taliyah will get a lovely kill there. Nautilus missed his anchor onto the wall for his escape. And you can see this is, again, the challenge, the difference in solo queue. You know, when everybody say, what's the difference between this rating, that rating? You know, we do a series now called the Champions Climb that kind of shows that. But one of the inherent differences with ranked and solo queue in the rankings is team play. League is a team game, obviously. And you can't sometimes argue that the higher rating you go, they work better together. That's a 4-man dive happening at 5 minutes into the game. That doesn't even happen in my games. You know, in Diamond, roughly level, that doesn't happen. So yeah, it's just team play obviously goes up. So worth also noting, Seeker's Arm Guard still first purchase for Seraphine in mid. That item just got nerfed in the fact that it's more expensive. And as I said in the patch note video, that is still going to be the main purchased item for a mage against an AD champion as the first purchase. It's still good. You're giving survivability and AP. It's a win-win. Meanwhile, in top lane, the Camille actually having a really rough time. So it's, again, if you are newer to the channel, and when I say newer, it sounds weird because it's, hell, I played Rengar top a long time ago. If you don't know, why is the logo a lion? My logo used to be Rengar. Meanwhile, Camille 2 levels down on the Rengar right now. She might get him. She does get him. But yeah, why is the logo a lion? And it's because I used to be a Rengar main, or one of my mains, and I actually used to be a pretty well-known Rengar top player. To the point that back in Season 3, there was no Master or Grandmaster. It went Diamond 1 into Challenger, and I was a high Diamond 1 player at the time, so I was basically Challenger MMR because there weren't many players to fill the game, so you just had Challengers or Diamond 1s. If people knew I was queuing, people used to ban out Rengar top. And I wasn't... Again, I did a bit of YouTube back then, but obviously not a crazy amount. I was still in I was in university back then. And people may actually go like, why the hell don't you pick up Rengar again? I seriously have been considering it. You know, people know my struggles with League recently. Trust me, I'm doing a lot of background thinking about what I want to do, what do I want to play. And jungling is... Again, I wouldn't probably play Rengar top, we'll say, even though I'm playing maybe a bit more top recently. Jungling is the big thing that I'm tempted to get back into. Meanwhile, big play happening. Seraphine gets the double row into the ultimate. A nice gank by Taliyah. Skarner going aggressive. Zed with a lovely play, man. Gets the ultimate to then get the gap closer for the W. Really good to see. Skarner now potentially on the back foot. Decides to go aggressive because he's probably dead anyway. And Taliyah will pick up the kill. Unfortunately, Camille missed her... whatever the hell they're called, ropes, metal slingshots, I don't know. This could give the Drac an opportunity for a blue team, but what might actually happen is a Taliyah gank. The power of Taliyah, they are going to do the dragon. Remember, is her ultimate is a massive wall that you can just completely close people off. And what you'll often see is Taliyah by gank a lane. Yeah, obviously with the intent to get that kill. But really, the background thought is, yeah, if we kill you now, great. But it's more the next gank. That, yeah, if they get one kill, they get their flash as well, fantastic. Then Taliyah will be thinking, oh, I'm coming back. Because if they, let's say bot lane, right now, Nautilus doesn't have flash, Misfortune doesn't have flash. If Taliyah gets a good ultimate on the go, blocks them off, they have nowhere to go. And meanwhile, they do get a nice 2v2 down in bot lane. Again, the power of Jhin, baby. There is literally, and I know it sounds crazy, obviously they've just buffed some AD carries in this recent patch. I think it was Jinx and Ezreal. And there's the block off. Seraphine doesn't have flash, and the Seraphine has nowhere to go. It's surviving longer than you'd actually think, because that champion is, again, with the support nature of her with shields and movement. Yeah, it does die in the end. But, yeah, I actually had to say, you know, my Huzzy recommendation, if you're an AD carry player, there is literally no... And unless you have pure enjoyment, there is no reason not to play Jhin or Kai'Sa. There just isn't. Kai'Sa, I'd say, is the one right now. But if not, yeah, I would probably just play Kai'Sa or Jhin. Like, it's crazy. Meanwhile, we did see Skarner up in top lane. Rengar as well, kind of hovering around. It'll be interesting to see to me as well how this Rengar builds. Again, with the history of the champion. Look at that Zed damage, by the way. And boom, he gets the kill. Then lovely Bard ultimate. Taliyah's also in the area. Going to hug the wall to try and get that movement speed. Will make her way there. And Taliyah is now on a rampage. So what you're seeing, by the way, from Taliyah... Why she's so good in Challenger is, one, her damage is actually insanely high. You know, if you hit all your abilities, high DPS, high damage output. But she's so good at map control. Like, she's kind of like, I don't know, like a Lise, I guess, but maybe with better scaling. Like, and also a mage version, not like a melee AP version. So if a Taliyah is on point, it is so scary because she can be around the map so fast with her passive movement speed and her ultimate. She can cut a whole enemy team off. It's frightening what this champion can do by herself. And again, would I be picking up the champion? Maybe. Like, again, I'm watching the champion. I always do challenge spectators generally on champions I'm interested in. And as I said to you guys earlier, just giving a little bit of a hint of how I'm feeling. I might be going back into the jungle. Rengar might be one of those picks. Because I think he's okay right now. if you're a good Rengar player, and that's usually it. Rengar can suck really easily, but if you're good at him, and I should be with my past history of the champion, then maybe we can give him a go. But Taliyah may be something I play, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But she's going to go back. Was looking potentially for a lane gank. Just going to go back. Obviously, Goredrinker purchase for Rengar. Remember, this is the nerfed Goredrinker now, which is doing 8% missing health. You can see on the active, it used to be 12%. It's still going to be strong. You know, Riot in their patch notes and everything, and their dev updates. I think Riot know the state of the game isn't great. You know, they've even admitted these patch notes that have been coming out, remember, are huge. The biggest patches that we've seen in a long time, every 2 weeks. And in a recent dev update, they were like, we're hoping to get the game to a decent balance by the end of spring. They're doing massive patches every 2 weeks, and by the end of spring is when they think the game is going to be okay. That should tell you right now how unbalanced the game is. And I think they could probably do even more per patch, but maybe they're a bit scared to do as much as they did. I don't know. Anyway, the obviously Rift Herald going down. And again, if you don't know the mechanics of Taliyah, meanwhile, just focus on what's happening in top lane. Skarner flashing onto the Taliyah. Skarner getting ulted. Rengar going to go for the all-in. Lovely flash by the Taliyah. 4v2. And yeah, that's just going to be a win-win. Blocking off the Skarner so he has no escape. And again, this is the one thing that with these challenger spectators are good because we're seeing the peak of play. But the difference between like my games, your games, and these challenger games is there's probably not going to be 4 people top lane for that play in your game. Maybe there'll be 3. The Bard support probably is still in bot lane in average rating. But the higher rating you go, it is a lot about how much supports roam. Especially, let's be honest, a Bard is the roaming support. Meanwhile, Seraphine getting ganked as well, gets a 3v1, does end up dead too. And again, with her item build, the one thing to say is because she's having to build survivability, she's going to do sod all damage right now. She's got Ionian boots, so again, cooldown reduction, not actually magic pen for damage. Seekers is obviously a good item, but not crazy damage. She's got a tier that's going to be scaling. She has no actual damage. Meanwhile, very confident for the Taliyah to not actually finish it off. And she's going to go with the steal. Does get the steal, which is really nice. Skarner going to go aggressive, looking for the Bard, and he will end up dead. So again, that's the invade also power that a Taliyah has. Because she's actually pretty safe. If she knows the opponent doesn't have flash, she can kind of keep distance. And she can even, like, pop the Skarner away. I would say, arguably, meanwhile, does get hooked randomly around a corner. Taliyah gets hooked by a Nautilus. That was a bit weird. Will survive, though, the Ignite just. Squishy champion, obviously, is Taliyah. So you do have to be careful for that. And that's why, again, Taliyah rewards really good players. Because her damage output is really high. She's going to go for a cheeky Rift Herald behind the tower, which is nice to see. Misfortune going aggressive in a 3v1. No, 2v2. With then the Shuriken will get the kill again. Remember, the Shuriken does give away if they're going to be a dead or not. But the Dragon is also being done. But yeah, Taliyah rewards good players. High damage output. Skill shots everywhere, so you have to make sure you're landing them. Again, not the fastest clear time, especially now, so you've got to maximize your clear time. You know, you look at the farm difference between Taliyah and Skarner. She's owning him, even though her farm time has been nerfed. Positioning-wise, she's insanely fast to get around the map. Her ultimate is very strategic, but the negative of the champion, you're a mage in the jungle. So, like, that's the problem. You're a mage in the jungle. You're a mage ganking. Mages are squishy, you know? And it's not like when Karthus jungle was popular that, you know, okay, he's dead. Well, he can still press ultimate. No, when Taliyah's dead, she's dead. So if you misposition a little bit, or if a Rengar ults on you and you don't have flash, you're going to be dead. So that's why Taliyah is such a good pick in high rating, and why you don't really see her many other ratings at all. It's very rare to see the champion anyway, is because she is what I would call a high rating pick, a challenger level champion. And that, by the way, is completely fun. I think Riot, by the way, I think basically, again, Riot's done a lot of dev updates talking about the game state recently, and one thing that they actually did say about new champion releases is that they think they made champions a bit too complicated, and I would probably agree. Not in terms of, I'd say, pure difficulty, but it's more understanding. Like, people still to this day will look at Aphelios, he'll do something, and they'll go, I have no idea what just happened. And that's the same with some other champions. Meanwhile, they do get the Skarner. Nautilus now in trouble, and you can see Camille is starting to roam, because Zed wants that side lane instead. But yeah, so they made champions have so many mechanics that I think Riot was scared of. We're going to release a champion and they can't do everything, so people aren't going to play them. Riot actually said, we're going back to basics with champions. They're going to have a clear role, clear job, and that's what they're going to do. It's not like Aphelios, who's basically every AD carry in one, or Samira, that's an AD carry that can also do melee things. I think they're going to go back to a bit more basic to be like, this is a mage, this is a bruiser, this is a enchanter support, and tone it down of how much each champion can do, and that's really good. Because obviously, meanwhile, Skarner goes for an ultimate. Camille will go down. Damage output by the Taliyah quite high. 3-level difference right now between the junglers, and that will be the end of the play. So a 1-for-1, which again, not too bad, but I think Camille's a little bit overextended. Spider-Man is coming in, gets his hook, gets the ultimate as well. Jhin will finish off the kill, and Taliyah will survive again at the Nautilus Ignite. That's the second time she's been ignited by Nautilus this game, and second time she is staying alive like the Bee Gees. Again, continue the jungle clear, and that's one thing you'll also notice with high-rating junglers, and it's one thing, if I get back into the jungle, I have to remember myself. Maximize farm when you're allowed to farm. You just killed a couple opponents, you have vision of a couple people on the map, you know you can keep farming right now. You know, objectively, it's not like you've got to go back and base to go get the dragon. You've got a little bit more time, so keep farming. Keep maximizing everything that you can, because when you're clearing it, when you're going to go back to base, that's when these camps will respawn. If you leave the camps alive, they're not respawning, so you're leaving gold for you not to get in the future, if that makes sense. Kill it now, it respawns quicker, you can get more gold again. She probably will go back now, though. Again, gold-wise, she has got 8.5k gold totaled compared to 6.1. And I will say, obviously, I don't think Skarner is a great champion. It actually surprised me how little on the... there was obviously the vote recently, of the rework vote. Udyr won the vote. Skarner, I don't even think came second. I think Shyvana came second from memory. Quinn lost. Quinn was the least popular. But I was a bit surprised, because I think, well, I know some people were off-put. Meanwhile, Zed going to survive. Nautilus, again, can't keep up with the Zed, unfortunately for him. But I did hear that some people were off-put by what Riot said about the Skarner potential rework. They're like, Riot came out and said, we're going to keep the Skarner ultimate. And everybody was like, isn't that the part of Skarner you need to kind of change? So what's the point of reworking him? Meanwhile, Taliyah going to go for a gank. Rengar, again, surprisingly tanky for a guy that has no tank items apart from plated boots. Meanwhile, Taliyah going aggressive again. Going melee range on a Rengar is generally not what you want to do. She will get the kill, though, with the last rock in his face. Just. So again, very close fight. Again, that was a 2-4 Rengar at the time with only a completed item of Gore Drinker versus a fed Taliyah. And that's what we're talking about. Yes, she got the kill, which is great. Had to burn flash for it. But she had to, like, that was close. And she is really fed versus not really a crazy fed Rengar. Like, he's fed in terms of, like, look at the difference between farming and top. Like, top lane's been very crazy. Both of them have died a lot this game due to jungling and stuff like that. But, yeah, it's why farm is also very important. Like, the gold difference between these two, 7.5, 5.8. Rengar's got a very, very big gold lead right now because of his farm. So again, make sure, and it's always something that I have to get better at, and maybe that's part and parcel maybe why I should go jungle. I'm not very good at farming, especially when I'm live commentating and streaming. I get better at it when I'm not having to commentate, but still it's not my strength, I would say. And in jungle, yes, you got to farm going to lane occasionally, but for the most part, farming is easy as a jungler because you just clear the camp. But anyway, dragon being done. I like, obviously, the priority that Taliyah is also given on the dragons. You know, normally a mage mage jungler isn't going to be like, I'm the dragon person. But this game, they are. Again, dragons are still insanely, like, very powerful. They're usually, the team that has Dragon Soul usually wins. So they, you know. Anyway, nice pop, good timing. Seraphine comes through. Positioning for Camille's very aggressive. Will survive for a long time, though. And they will end up probably getting the kill. Jhin with his crazy damage, and Seraphine is going to try and survive. Taliyah just going to do some auto-attacking on the tower. And again, this has been an insanely solid performance. So the title of the video might be something like, Taliyah got nerfed, or Taliyah got nerfed, is she still the challenger goddess of jungle? The answer is probably yes. Like, again, she is still insanely high damage. Like, again, the nerfs were jungle clear time and her movement speed, which, yeah, are going to hurt her in the jungle, but you guys have seen her damage, her ganks, everything has still been really good. Her ultimate is still fantastic as well for ganking. That's not really changed. So yes, I do think Taliyah is still going to be a good jungler in the likes of Challenger and stuff. And again, we don't really see Taliyah anywhere else. I'm sure there's probably like a Taliyah main in gold who's like, why is Taliyah getting nerfed? She's not that strong. In average ranks, I actually don't think she's that strong. It's, again, in the higher tiers where she is a bit of a... I don't even know if I would use the word problem. She's just very good. The reason why I wouldn't say she's a problem is you guys just saw. Like, a not fed Rengar nearly killed a fed Taliyah. If you make a mistake on Taliyah, or if you have a bad early game, you suck. Like, you're a weak mage at that point who does no damage, who gets one shot. But the risk of it, if she has a good game, she's a very scary champion. Meanwhile, they're going to go to the enemy base. Camille just trying to jump around doing some more damage. And Taliyah might look for one more big engage. Gets Spider-Man hooked. Is going to go for that engage, though. Nautilus, oh, the double boink, gets the double kill on Nautilus and Seraphine. That was actually surprising that she hit Seraphine. And Jhin is going to look for a curtain call. Meanwhile, Miss Fortune is looking for a bullet time. And Bard dies, just stands in there. Taliyah as well, a little bit cocky, gets shut down near the end of the game. But the Miss Fortune will go down. And that will be the game. So, nice Ignite Zed onto the Rengar, padding his damage stats to end out the game. But there we go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. This was Taliyah. Arguably, she shouldn't have died. She just stood randomly in a Misfortune ultimate. But 10-1-11, 187 farm, nearly over 100 farm the Skarner in 22 minutes. Gold-wise, 11k gold to 6.8. So very clear difference in jungling right now. This game also had the dragon pressure. So again, overall, fantastic to see. So yes, this also shows you guys sometimes that in the community of League, some people like to overreact, surprisingly. But when a champion gets nerfed, it doesn't mean that they're just suddenly useless. You know, it depends how big the nerf is. But like for Taliyah, the movement speed, yeah, it's annoying. The clear time for the Qs doing less damage on the same target, yeah, it's annoying. But that wasn't like the pure strength of the champion. It does hurt her, but she's still pretty damn good, as you can see. But anyway, that's going to be it. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on the video, comment down below. And just to announce, I guess, the Champions Climb, obviously our main spectate series that we've got currently. We're going to start with Fiddlesticks, is what I mainly saw people want, and then we're going to do Lee Sin. So in the next few days, there'll be the first episode of the Champions Climb Fiddlesticks, where we'll be watching a bronze, roughly level Fiddlesticks player and see how they do, and then we'll be working up each rank, well, not each rank, but every few ranks, so we'll probably do bronze, gold, low diamond-ish, and then challenger if we can find a Fiddle main. And that should help probably a lot of Fiddle players, and not even just Fiddle players, players in general. Knowledge about any champion will make you a better player overall. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.